Guys, you're going to have to educate me on this right here, too, as well. I didn't pay deep attention to what was going on. I saw this. It's another case of just a crazy fucking person doing disgusting acts. It did remind me of a lot of Trayvon Martin stuff. And once again, I don't give a shit what color anybody is in this situation, what religion, ethnicity. If you commit a crime like this, you go to fucking jail. And to say that there was no racism involved is fucking bullshit.
Johnny, take it away.
Alrighty, yeah. So basically, I'm just gonna go about how I first became aware of this, and then of this murder, and then we'll go from there. So basically, by now, I'm sure everybody's heard of the Ahmaud Arbery murder. This is him pictured right here.
Yeah. But break it down exactly what happened so people...
So the murder happened on February 23rd, 2020. An unarmed 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery was jogging through a Georgia neighborhood when he was confronted by 3 men and subsequently murdered. The video was leaked on May 5th. I saw it 4 days ago on the 7th while browsing Instagram. P. Diddy actually had posted the video. So
you have it?
Yeah, let's watch it. Let's watch it. And warning, this is someone getting killed. And it's still up. So there he is running.
Nice jogging pace. Whose camera is that, John?
This is the third man. I'm going to explain that in a little bit. So there you go.
Wow.
That's the video, and
that to me seems like cold-blooded murder. Almost like a modern-day lynching. I'm not even exaggerating.
It was disgusting. You know, they chased him down like in an animal.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we know in the aftermath of this video being released. There are 2 men in the video who shot Ahmaud, and 1 man who was filming.
Okay.
As of today, only the 2 men in the video have been arrested. They got arrested on May 7th. Their names are, we can see the man on the left is former police officer Gregory McMichael, and the man on the right is his son, Travis McMichael. They were arrested and charged with murder 2 months after the murder happened, only after a massive outcry by the public and the video being leaked. And there's reports that the police saw the video before, but I don't know. You know, there was a massive outcry. Here's some footage of a protest in Brunswick. It says, I don't know, it says Brunswick, Jacksonville, so it was kind of confusing where this was, but, you know, there's people protesting. The third man who filmed the murder has not been arrested yet. So if we look at this guy, Lee Merritt, there's a third suspect in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, still free. William Bryant claims he was unarmed and just trying to get a photo of a trespasser. He's lying. He's an armed accomplice. I've had experts review the video, see how the screen dips as you hear him cock his weapon. So let's watch this part.
Oh yeah.
You can hear the cock
Yeah.
there. There was a cock like right here.
Yeah, I heard it. Wow.
All right. So, John, break this down for me. Like, what was their excuse? What did they say, these men? They said that there was an armed robbery or a robbery of sorts, and they were kind of...
Yeah.
I didn't look at the police report directly, but I saw from tweets and everything that they said that... well, here's what it says in the police report. It says... sorry, William Bryant, your racist friend Gregory McMichael already ratted you out. He told police you attempted to block Ahmaud with your truck but was unsuccessful. You are a willing participant in the ambush that resulted in the death of an armed man black jogger. So I guess this is a statement that was made by Gregory McMichael, the retired policeman. Upon my arrival, I observed Officer Minshew setting up a perimeter. I began speaking with Gregory McMichael, who was a witness to the incident. McMichael stated there had been several break-ins in the neighborhood, and further, the suspect was caught on surveillance video. McMichael stated he was in his front yard and saw the suspect from the break-ins hauling ass down Satilla Drive toward Burford Drive. McMichael stated that he then ran inside his house and called to Travis and said, "Travis, the guy is running down the street. Let's go." McMichael stated that he went to his bedroom, grabbed his .357 Magnum. Travis grabbed his shotgun. They didn't know if the male was armed or not. McMichael stated the other night they saw the same male and he stuck his hand down his pants, which led them to believe the male was armed. He stated that he got into the truck, drove down Satilla Drive toward Buford Drive. McMichael stated that when they arrived at the intersection of Satilla, they saw the unidentified male running. They drove down Buford, attempted to cut off the male. I think that's what we saw in the video. They tried to cut him off. McMichael stated the unidentified male turned around and began running back the direction from which he came, and Roddy attempted to block him, which was unsuccessful. So that was the man filming.
Yeah.
That's a crock of shit.
Yeah. Well, also, just I don't know if you're going to talk about it, but just like they were saying, there was a video that came out that he was at a construction site.
Yeah. I have that also. Sean King exposed who the third man was. So we saw that the first two men was a former police officer, and then a lot of people keep saying I have three suspects. This is, again, Mr. Lee Merritt. Thanks, Sean King. Arrest all three of these men who conspired to murder. This is the gentleman who was filming. Sean King, here's what he said. William Roddy Bryan, an accessory to murder. This is the man who filmed the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Not only that, he was involved from the beginning. As you will see on my page, he told police that he chased Ahmaud. He lives just 1 block away from Travis and Gregory. We caught Roddy in a lie, though. He told police he jumped into the back of the pickup truck to chase Ahmaud down, but admitted to police he filmed the murder. The man who filmed the murder was in his own car, also cocking his own gun. Roddy clearly lied. We know this because some kind soul leaked Roddy's video to us. So,
what proof did they have that this guy tried to rob something? Is there? They said there was a video or something, John, or is that what they were claiming?
Yes. So there were videos that came out. Let me see. That's a little bit more ahead. So on May 9th, there was a video that emerged. That's security video outside of the construction home. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations is reviewing this video and the investigation of the death of Ahmaud Arbery. So there he is. There's Ahmaud. A man believed to be Arbery walking in and around a home under construction just minutes before he was shot and killed. So he walks into that house, and we're going to show you what the house looks like in a second, because the new footage also came out today, I believe.
Yeah. And they said that it was, the latest news is that it was a 3-minute, he was there like 3 minutes, and all he did was like look and like get back out.
Yeah.
What house was that? Was that just a construction house, or?
It's a construction.
It's a house under construction.
So he was like, oh, let me look at the house under construction. Maybe it's for sale, or because I mean, first of all, let me just say this much too: if you're gonna be trying to rob something, you're not jogging down the street casually. You're dipping in and out of those trees and those bushes, and you're hiding.
Right.
This guy was jogging down the middle of the street in the middle of daylight. Get the F out of here. Sorry to interrupt you, Johnny. Go ahead, brother.
It says an unidentified figure enters the upper left frame. It's unclear what he's doing, but police report says a neighbor called 911 about this time to report someone had entered the house under construction, noting it was open. So there's a guy up here, if you see. So he's kind of looking at Ahmaud in the house. And then there's a car. This is sped up footage. A figure emerges from the construction home and runs down Satilla Drive. So he ran out of the house. He was walking before, which was interesting.
Yeah. It looked like he was jogging, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it looked like he was jogging. It is sped up film.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if he was walking or jogging out of the house. And then if we keep on in the upper left frame, 2 identified figures appear to move near a parked white truck in the vicinity of Travis McMichael's address, and the truck drives down. So it looks like they're all on film here.
Yeah.
You can see the man up there. I think that was the neighbor that called the police, and then yes. So there's a little bit more. Hold on, where is
it? I see zero justification.
A police cruiser drives by the construction site. So police responded to the 911 call.
Right.
Right. Oh, so he was in there.
No, he wasn't. He just drove by the construction site.
The police cruiser.
Yeah. So they responded to the 911 call.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like, and then kept going down the road. I guess that's probably where they see what happens, actually. So that's weird that no one was arrested.
Right.
Another police cruiser races down Satilla Drive.
Right. So
What-
where was the police
see.
when
Boom.
that was happening?
Yeah. Okay.
That's another.
So
good
that means they
question.
did arrive to the scene. Yeah. Okay. So
Oh,
we
God,
got
this
that
is crazy
video.
shit.
We got that video. And then I guess they also had a camera in the house itself, and this
Yeah.
came out today.
Yep.
It looks like.
You got it?
Yeah. So there's Ahmaud.
So he's just kind of looking around.
Like, what's he gonna steal?
I mean, well, the thing is, if he was going to steal stuff, he'd be stealing materials and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do that, did he? He was just
No,
kind of
he
like
was just-
looking
he just
around.
walked
well,
out.
that and like still, even if he were stealing stuff, you have due process. You have a law. Like you don't
Exactly.
just go around.
Yeah.
Even if you want to say that this guy was like the worst person, he had the worst intentions.
Yes.
Should he die?
Yes.
No.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
No. I think that's when you think about the Trayvon Martin case, right?
Yeah.
The thing about me was like, okay, whether it be racism, whether it be hatred, whatever the case may be, the dispatcher told what was his name, Zimmerman. Don't follow him, don't go after him. We got it.
Yeah.
He went after, he followed me, he killed him. So no matter what, to me, at the very least, that is fucking manslaughter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People shouldn't be taking anything into their own hands. You know what I'm saying? In any situation.
This seems worse to me, to be honest. It seems like premeditated murder. Like, if I were a lawyer, I would actually argue for first degree because they planned this.
Oh,
they
yeah.
saw him. They decided that he was the guy. They brought arms. They coordinated with a third person, and then they shot him in cold blood with zero evidence of, I mean, like, they thought they had evidence in their minds, but they're not policemen. They're not people like that should even be doing this. This is like people taking arms against a person and executing them just because they feel like they're wrong. And so that, to me, I would argue, if I were an attorney, first degree, actually, more than manslaughter. They actually have a case to argue first degree.
Listen, I agree. Same thing with Trayvon Martin. You argue for first degree
I
murder.
agree, yeah.
But at the very least, sorry,
Yeah.
someone's dead. You get manslaughter no matter
Yeah.
what. The bottom line is you're not supposed to take the law into your other hands. So if you want to move away all the hogwash, whether it was
Yeah.
racially motivated, whether it wasn't racially motivated, should it be a hate crime? It doesn't make a difference. Somebody died. The very least, motherfucker, you got manslaughter. At the very least, Zimmerman should be sitting in a fucking jail, prison, because of manslaughter at the very least.
Yeah.
I think he should got
Yeah.
first degree murder too, fam.
Yeah.
Because he was told. And he
Yeah.
even said these hoods, these hoodlums.
No.
So I believe
No.
it was racially motivated.
Totally.
He
No.
should go to jail for first degree murder. But at the very least, our fucking system dictates you should go to jail for at least manslaughter because somebody fucking died. They'll do that to a poor person. You know what I'm saying? They do it all the time to like gang members who get in fights or poor people. It's like, hey man, I defended. Oh well, sorry, somebody died. You go to jail for
Right, exactly.
manslaughter. And Florida and Georgia have these laws, John,
Yeah.
where they make it legal to kill.
Stand your ground. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So here's where it gets interesting. Today,
Wow, what do we got?
armed Black Panther Party members showed up in the neighborhood of the men who chased down a 25-year-old black jogger, called Ahmaud Arbery, and murdered him on the street in broad daylight. The Black Panthers joined Arbery's family on a walk for justice in Arbery's memory.
Wow.
So you can see they're armed and they're walking the streets. It's very, very interesting that this is happening. So
Well-
hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
Here's
They would have shot me if I was running through their goddamn neighborhood.
Say it again, bro.
Hell motherfucking no, they would have shot a goddamn person.
Say it again, bro. Say it again, bro.
I said, you think they would have shot me if I was running through their goddamn neighborhood? Well, I'm gonna give them an opportunity.
There it is.
Black Panthers team of Black Motorcycle Club riders Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah.
So there's the Black Motorcycle Club. Okay, let me keep going. Okay, so
Love it.
and so today it also appears that the Justice Department is weighing hate crime charges in death of Ahmaud Arbery. Okay, so when I first saw the video, the first thing I did was read the comment, the P. Diddy's comment here, and it says that he was running in his neighborhood and was chased down and murdered, and no arrests have been made. That was before the arrests were made. And then he put runwithmod.com. So I was like, oh, runwithmod.com. What is that? So I go to runwithmod.com, and you see, let's take a look at it. This is Ahmaud Arbery. He was out for a jog when he was chased down, shot, and killed by two white supremacists. We must demand the justice he deserves. Ahmaud Arbery was only 25 years old, a fit athlete jogging near his home on a Sunday afternoon in Brunswick, Georgia. when 2 white supremacists saw him, got their guns, got in a truck, chased him down, pulled up next to him, shot him at least 2 times and killed him right there on the spot. He was unarmed, broke no laws. That's all correct. He was unarmed, broke no laws, did nothing wrong. He was only 25. Detectives were former police officer. Yep. And so he deserves justice. I'm just looking through it. Let's help get justice. And here's some pictures. Family man, looks good. Paid for by the Action Pack. TheActionPack.com, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. You guys are suspect when there's PACs involved.
Yeah. For
correct?
Sure.
Yeah, because
I'm
once again, too,
suspects.
it's here the thing. The thing is, I think they're pushing the fact that they're saying that he was the guys are white supremacists. Has that been proved yet, John? Or is that kind of like, we're just going to assume that because they're 2 country hicks that with guns? I mean, have they proved that?
Yeah, I mean, if we could find like a picture of them supporting. I mean,
KKK,
for me, it does seem like a hate crime.
It does.
But
No, I mean, he shouldn't have been murdered at all.
Yeah.
Like they should have called the police. They shouldn't have taken matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
So
I'm even against them calling the police. I mean, I feel like if there was a white man looking at a construction site, they wouldn't have blinked twice.
Right.
I'm really gonna say
for
that.
them calling the police and taking matters into their own hands. If I can have both, yeah, I'd leave it be and not even call anything. But if I had to choose between the two, I'd rather them call the cops and stay the fuck out of it. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what can happen there? Our cops, we
Georgia
can't trust our
cops
cops.
are some of the worst.
Probably, if not the worst. I've heard so many bad stories about Georgia cops. Not all of them, of course, but once again. So, I mean, and these guys were former cops.
So I wanted to see what the Action Pack was, because it's interesting that what it is. And Open Secrets, it says this committee is a so-called carry committee, a hybrid PAC / super PAC. And I just kind of want to quell people's doubts about it. Contributions to this PAC from individual donors $200 or more is $630. So most of their contributions came from donors of $200 or more. Okay, I thought it was $200 or less when I first read that.
It's the other way.
Okay, so
it's big. It's big.
It was
money
like
people.
$300. It was. I was looking through some of the receipts. It was like $300 or something like that.
Yeah.
So the treasurer. It was the treasurer's Lee Merritt, and that is the lawyer for the Ahmaud Arbery family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I wanted to show also. So here's the on FEC also. You can see the Action Pack. It's in San Francisco, California. Treasurer is Lee Merritt. He's the lawyer, so maybe he has his own PAC. But yeah, if you look up his name on Twitter, he's been on MSNBC. He's been on a bunch of shows here. He's been on TMZ. He's been on MSNBC, CBS. I mean, there's a bunch of places he's been on. So the only reason I wanted to bring this up was because I'm not sure who formed the PAC, and they could have the same name or not. It looks like it's the same person. Interesting that the PAC is located in San Francisco. If you go to the address, I looked it up on Google Maps. It's a P.O. box, which is a smart thing to do in general. I highly recommend that instead of putting your own address or even business address, because there's crazy motherfuckers out there. Point in showing that it's interesting that there's a PAC for. I'm not saying it's a bad PAC. I just want to show the facts. And conservatives / people who might have like their color blinders on are saying stupid shit like this.
Yeah.
I'm saying be careful about the just a jogger narrative that is already fossilized in the public square because it was planted there and dug in there by people who have financial and ideological incentives to whip up hysteria and hatred against white people and police officers or former police officers, and certainly any citizen who chooses to exercise their Second Amendment rights to defend their homes and defend their neighborhoods.
So
Sean King
go around shooting people.
Is college buddies, best friends for the last 20 years with Lee Merritt. They went to school together at Morehouse College.
Yeah, and then she goes to smear Sean King. Okay, but she did say something that was true, that the narrative is suspect. That's the only thing I'm saying that I think is to the narrative, right? That's the only thing that she but she makes it seem like she's trying to justify the murder, which is completely wrong. Bottom line, like
they're not justified in doing.
They're not. Absolutely not. They're not just
nobody would be.
And it looks like we're going to keep getting more and more updates. But here's the bottom line. I never trust the mainstream media, and they've been covering this murder like no other. To me, first of all, Ahmaud Arbery should not have been murdered. The men in the video should not have taken the law into their own hands. They should have called the police. And in a perfect world, the police would at most only tase him and not kill him. The media has been blowing this up to create a certain type of narrative. I think so. Now it's coming out that the Black Panthers are out there with guns. Do you know what that is? This is the elites pitting us against each other. Yes, there is racism. Yes, the men should face life in jail. But we must pay attention as to why the media is covering this so well when they don't do the same in other cases.
Correct.
Steph Rich.
Got your coffee, buddy.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's the media. This is your part.
Yeah. Me?
And Fee, I think you wrote this part.
Oh, let me put that up there for you, Fee.
What?
Oh, no, I wrote this part.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's the media's, therefore, elite's goal to refuel black against white, white against black narrative, particularly during a pandemic, in order to divide us in these uncertain times where people are planning on doing a general strike and such, and to put the focus on our differences rather than the similar struggle we all have right now under capitalism failing our society.
Right.
So,
Johnny, that was so well written.
I can agree. I can agree with that, Johnny. I just also think we can't forget that there is a huge racial element right now in our country, in our history. And we haven't really grappled that. I mean, if you look like 40 years ago, we were still dealing with this. You know what I mean? Brown versus Board of Education wasn't that long ago, you guys. This is still a really young country that has a lot of racial issues that have never been tied. But the thing to note that I think he's getting to was that Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Martin Luther King Jr., as soon as they started talking about how the working class made up of white, Latino, black, Asian, etc., of all these people were continuously pitted against each other. The indentured servants, the white, poor working class, were made to feel better by being able to pick on the slaves. And so to feel more powerful. Oh, these people are taking your jobs. The same thing keeps happening over and over and over again. And if we don't include the discussion that this isn't just, we do have racial issues, but it's not just racial issues. It is also working class economic issues, because I think we put it in there, Johnny, Joe Biden's niece stole $110,000 from a private business. And there she is, alive and well, and she got a pat on the wrist. She's not even getting jail time, a slap on the wrist. She's getting absolutely no
2
jail
years
time.
probation.
Yeah, she's. I mean, nothing. And exactly. And of course she has the finances to repay that. But think a person that's a working class, I would never have the finances to repay that. Are you kidding me? And so that would go on your record, and then you'd have to go to jail, and then all this stuff. And so what we're seeing is there's obviously, it's not just a racial divide. There's also the bigger divide is the class. Yes. And they're using, the oligarchs always use this to put us against each other. And the moment people like Malcolm X and MLK started talking about how we need to unite to fight against the real culprits of the capitalist oligarchs, were the moments where these people got killed. Yeah.
Listen, I mean, I think what Johnny put over there was so just well put. You know what I'm saying? If anybody sits there and kind of denies the fact that racism is all over and thinks it's all said and done, that's kind of a stupid comment. It does exist. The ways to fix it, I mean, we all in disagreement. The whole world don't know how to fix it. I believe we fix it through strong education. You know, make education affordable, make it good, make it equal in the parts. You know what I'm saying? Give us good education throughout. Economy, fix the economy. All right. If we're not at war for resources in a crony capitalist system, we're gonna love each other more. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm so tied to food, because I believe food, when we sit down, we break bread together. That's when we come together. And yes, the elites, again, they want to exploit these situations, make them more about black and white than anything else. When it comes to Trayvon Martin, when it comes to this situation, I'm not going to bring the racial thing into it, except maybe at the very core to see if it was premeditated murder. At the end of the day, they killed somebody. They took the law into their own hands. I don't give a shit if they're the son of Joe Biden. Yeah. You go to fucking jail. Yeah. End of story. And that's the way we can end. If our justice system was just, and if our justice system wasn't racial, and our justice system is racial because it's all based upon economics, we have for-profit prisons. Those people talk to who? The judges. They talk to the lobbyists to make sure that they fill those beds in those prisons. And in those areas that are very mixed, they get away with putting people of color in those beds. And it's a total fucking systemic racist system, and they get away with it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's so much that comes into play. when it comes to this situation. But once again, I think it is a tactic to divide us against each other. We are talking about general strike. We are talking about joining hands. We are talking about coming together. And what do? Let's pit black against white, and they're going to exploit that. Yeah. The situation when it comes to merit, when it comes to Sean King, I think Sean King sometimes exploits that situation and stuff, but he's great at bringing that stuff out. But it is food for thought. There's so many avenues we have to think about this. Yeah. We can't deny that there is a serious racial problem in this country. How do we really
especially and coming from Sean King, who is a black person, I know I'm not going to sit there and say his experience is not valid because I'm not a black person, and I think that we can't, like, in our effort to talk about how we are pitted against each other, we can't dismiss like their experiences. And I think it's important to always consider what someone like that and what people of that race have experienced. And there's no doubt to me in my mind that had that person been a white individual, this wouldn't have happened. So I believe nobody's trying to make this. I think some people are trying to make this racial, but I think at its core it is actually racial.
What if it was just a poor, scummy white kid from another neighborhood driving over there and they say, "Oh, they're son of a bitch, let's go get him." We don't know that for a fact. That's something we can only project and say what's going on. The bottom line is that if he killed somebody,
because it doesn't happen though, Pasa.
It does happen, and it happens often. It's not reported and exploited on the TV. I can show you a picture of a young white kid in Fresno getting lit up like a Christmas tree, and nobody paid attention to it. He was a poor kid with a big truck. They thought he was robbing something. He wasn't doing anything. They lit him up like a Christmas tree. It does happen.
Do we have any statistics? Because I don't think it happens as often as a black. Okay, so this would be something to discuss later on, because I mean, I from what I've read, the statistics are definitely vastly different when it comes to race, as to who gets targeted by law enforcement and by citizen people who want to take the law into their own hands. So I definitely think I disagree there. I think there's definitely racial disparity into who gets targeted. I don't think it's on the same level.
Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I mean, at the same time, my personal opinion is that a crime is a crime. And I understand we want to look at the motivation sometimes to not let it happen. And that's why we always talk about the economic reasons. We talk about the education because we want to strengthen, race relations. And I always believe that strengthening the economic relations the economic situation would help racial tensions, because therefore we won't be at a struggle for resources and pitted against each other. Because uneducated people across this country, especially uneducated white people, they're going to start blaming black people for the lack of their resources they have sometimes, and they're going to point the finger.
They blame immigrants right now.
They blame people who don't look like them when they're starving for resources. Why am I sleeping in my car? Why are my kids don't have a college fund? Oh, because that person out there across the street, the immigrant, we give them our tax dollars. Oh, we give the African-American male, we give him college, but when my kid can't get it, and therefore we're pitted against each other.
Right.
So more than anything, I think we're pitted against each other. But believe you me, at the end of the day, a crime is a crime, whether who did it. Zimmerman should be sitting in Zimmerman, I think, was so bad because, once again, he said that these hoods, I can't stand these hoodlums coming around. It was like, whoa, you just racially motivated yourself to go. You proved it and stuff. And once again, the dispatcher told him, do not follow him. Leave him alone. That was a cop. A dispatcher's a cop. So at the very least, if you just treated the law of the land, if you kill somebody, that's manslaughter at the very least. You premeditated, it's murder. Yeah. But I do think it is a lot of tactic that exploit these situations, and they show these situations more than ever to keep us divided. It's a divide and conquer. Yeah. Because let me tell you something. Those fucking fat white assholes with the guns, they're not representing my mindset. I don't care if I share the same color of skin as them. You can go fuck yourself. You have nothing to do with me. You're not fucking, you know what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of people in this country, we met a lot of them, who want to bring those tensions, those race relationships together and say, come on, let's go. We'll accept responsibility for what our ancestors did and try to steer the ship right and go do it. But let's do it together. And, let's bring us together, not separate us. So, fam?
Johnny?
I also want to add that community, building communities, and it's kind of like a change into because everyone's consumed by work, but it's got to be. We also got to build local communities. I think is the dream, the utopia, where we all are in a community locally and we all contribute in some way.
But our communities are still segregated, right? So that's also something that happens.
Yeah. And it's economic relief communities, and then what was the other Economic relief.
Economic relief, education.
Education.
It's strength and education.
Absolutely.
A lack of education is done on purpose. George Carlin talked about it. They don't want us knowing. They just want us smart enough to push the brooms and push the buttons on the machines. They don't want us looking at the nuances of situations. You know what I'm saying? Looking at history to see how much we have in common. And I'm talking about poor black and white folk. We have so much more in common than our government calling the shots up top, and that's something we have to understand. And that's why I like football. You know, we played football for a little bit. We understand that, you know, listen, you don't give a shit when you're on that offensive line. White guy, black guy, we work together. We're sitting there doing whatever we have to do. And when you have a locker room kind of atmosphere, it really brings people together because you don't care. All you care about is the guy who's next to you in the trenches in the military, and same thing in sports. So there are some beautiful things about sports that bring people together. People of all races, ethnicities, and whatnot. But we do have a lot of work to do.
Yep. Agreed.
And Jackson Fact says, love you guys so much. Pasta is exactly right on the economic factors involved. When basic needs aren't met, we live in despair, which leads to fear, leading to hate, violence, and self-destruction. If you haven't checked out Jackson Facts, check them on out.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with that. I'm just saying we can't dismiss the racial tensions in this country and all of that while saying that.
Well, the idiots trying to dismiss it are really fucking stupid. Like, there's no race. There's hardcore racism.
Second Amendment. No, it's stupid. It was stupid.
Yeah. And the systemic racism comes in the form, more than anything, of our Justice Department. You know what I'm saying? The way we put people of color in jail, and a lot of white people buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like stupidness.
Right.
And it's done for profit.
Well, just look at marijuana and who gets arrested for that, and who gets to have the shops, and you know, that are open and nice, and gets to make it into like, oh yeah, you know, everybody smokes weed. White people. And I mean, you can't deny that. That's how where this country is at.